Good morning, everybody. First of all, thank you for your presence here today. My delegation hopes that we can proceed with this negotiation and that it can be as successful as possible. My name is Jan Nikosi, and I'm the designated attorney for the USA in this particular case. We gathered here today to negotiate on the Canal Zone Treaty as well as its sovereignty and its jurisdiction, or many other matters that you want to add or discuss in this negotiation. The U.S. ambassador and the economy minister are here with me today. Uh, Also, a human rights expert that will be assessing us during the negotiation via video call. Our Secretary of Defense was not allowed to come due to lack of availability, but she will be here with us during the whole process via video call too. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your invitation. I'm Maria Meriteran, and I'm the attorney from Panama and also the human rights expert. My delegation also hopes for the best outcomes for this negotiation and something with which both our parts will benefit and be on the same page. Since you are the ones who invited us here to negotiate, we expect you to be the first to express your concerns and necessities, so please go ahead.
Greetings, everybody, especially Panama delegates. I'm confident that we're going to reach an agreement that benefits both of our nations. As we all know, it has been over 100 years from the time our country started protecting the Canal Zone, taking control of criminal jurisdiction, and establishing armed forces. Unfortunately, our presence there cannot be removed overnight. It's just impossible, without certain condition that as a nation we require if we really want to ensure this process ends up with the best possible results. For that reason, we estimate that in a time span of 20 years, your country will be ready to defend and operate the Canal Zone. Therefore, it is our responsibility to guard the canal against all danger until Panama can achieve sufficiently advanced tactics to defend the route by themselves.
We appreciate your concerns, but we also feel that your arguments do not correspond to the hard work our people has been doing in order to have at least some of the Canal Zone's jurisdiction. So, that being said, we disagree with the span of time given from you and that you proposed, and it is longer than it should be, and we are sure that our country will be able to defend the canal if needed in a shorter period of time. So please could you reconsider that time span if it's good for you?
Well, naturally, we can discuss the terms on which your country will start the defense and operation of the Canal Zone, but we must be firm on the 20-year time span.
We do not agree with the time span. We demand not only that the length of the treaty to be shortened, but also that the entirety of the U.S. forces withdraw from the Canal Zone, a zone that has always belonged to our country, Panama. Our delegation is willing to reach an agreement only if the time span reduced to 10 years tops.
The human rights expert that is connected with us will discuss this matter with you.
As I said before, I'm also a human rights expert, and I consider that you, Ms., and your complete delegation must think carefully about your demands, and because without a proper introduction and equipment, the canal zone will be in danger. And also, although this area does belong to Panama, you must think not only in your own interest, but also in your people's safety as well. We do not America, the United States of America, does not represent a threat, and the security of both parties are very important. So, if the canal suffers such thing as a terrorist attack, for example, the economy and safety of all Panama will be at risk.
We can understand where you're coming from and why you might disagree with the time span that we have proposed for you. However, there is something that we need to leave very clear, and that is that our country, the United States of America, has been able to take care and protect and defend this zone for all of these years that it has been under our jurisdiction. That is because our troops are well trained and they are professional enough to be able to take this very important task, that is the protection and the safety of the canal zone. Unfortunately, we see that your troop and your force may not be prepared enough, or they may not have the techniques that are necessary to be able to take this task. That is why we as a country cannot permit to retreat our forces from the canal zone, because the safety of this place is of absolutely important and necessary. So that is why we may not compromise the safety of this place. You have to understand that this is our main this is of the main importance in this debate, the safety of this place. So we cannot compromise it by having our forces retreated from the canal zone.
Okay, our position is firm, and we strongly disagree with your arguments. We understand that you've been taking care of the Canal area for many years, but we are a democratic country which doesn't need troops coming from another country to be in our jurisdiction. So, we want you and your troops to withdraw from our country as soon as possible.
Well, given that the canal defense is our priority, as mentioned before, we can offer you a deal. So, your force can defend the canal zone only if they are trained by our officers. That means you could have your troops and your forces defending and protecting this very sacred zone, but only if they have been given the education that they need by trained professionals, that is the United States soldiers. You have to think about this deal, because if you accept it, you would be Panama could be very could get very good things from this. One of these would be that your soldiers will be well trained and they will gain the techniques necessary in order to take care of the canal zone and protect and defend this zone from any attacks they may have. If they are not well trained, sadly, this may compromise the safety of the canal zone. So that is why we are offering you that you have your forces defending this place only if they receive the high education and qualification that they need from the US soldiers, who will be able to teach them everything they need to know in order to defend and protect this place.
Maybe the proposal that our forces will be trained with your military programs might be a good business for both sides. Our army will improve and your country will invest less money and resources on the maintenance of your troops for the canal's defense.
Okay, for us, the security of the canal is a priority. So our troops were training with elastic defense maneuvers and equipped with automatic weapons. For this reason, your presence is unnecessary in the Panamanian territory. However, we don't want the canal to be unstable because of disagreement between our countries. So we can reach a concession where our troops are training for a reasonable time. We could also accept your support only until our troops prove they are fully capable of defending the territory. After this, we will ask you to withdraw, even though You could live a general supervise and care for the interests of your country.
Well, we cannot risk the canal's integrity until Panama can prove the absolute responsibility over it. That is, your country needs to be in a good place in order to prove that it can defend itself by its own. So we could agree to your terms only if you allow the United States of America to keep half its troops in Panama's territory until the 15-year has passed. Then you could defend all by yourself.
Okay, we can accept your requests and conditions.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tata Oliveira, the Economy Minister. I'd like to say that we can clearly see your concerns, and we definitely have ours as well. But I'm certain that we can agree on something that will beneficiate both of us. So, this being said, we would like to start by requesting 1 billion annually as indemnization.
Hi, I'm Omar Arrieche, Minister of Economy of the United States of America. I have to tell you that we cannot commit to pay that amount. We cannot pay 1 billion annually, but we can offer 500 millions annually as a compensation.
Well, it's very important to mention that we will have to wait 50 years lapse as our Secretary of Defense mentioned. Will you care to share the reasons of your bargaining? I will even say that I'm sure we gave a good offer despite all of the concerns.
The reasons why we bargain the price is because United States has had the jurisdiction of this canal for over 100 years. We also know that your army and your police is not prepared to deal with the safety of the canal. As we mentioned before, we can offer the training of your army too, besides the 500 millions.
Yeah, that's interesting. I believe we can agree on that.
Good day everyone, my name is Angie Dobbs and I'm Panama's ambassador. After analyzing the proposals made by each party, I have considered a final proposal that would be the most convenient for both parties, being equitable, reasonable, and taking into account the security of our country. The following issues have been considered the most appropriate to consider in this negotiation. As everybody knows, the length of time before the new treaty is due to expire, so I consider it fair for the treaty's new length to be of 15 years. U.S. capacitation of Panamanian new police on the Canal Zone and the withdrawal of the remaining soldiers. A single representative remaining on the Canal Zone. 750 million compensation to Panama annually. And finally, after the 15 years, I consider that we should reevaluate the conditions of the treaty in order to know if the conditions are acceptable to surrender the 50% remaining or if it needs to be reduced to 25%. That would be it for today, and I would like to thank you all for your attention and your comprehension during this session.